we are live. Hello, everyone, my friends, my great follower. Hope you are doing very well. To those may not know me yet, my name is Roya. I've been living in Sydney for 12 years, and I am an electronics engineer as well. Tonight, as you know, it's a great blessing tonight for me to have a Raza or Raz. I don't know. He will let us know which name is he prefer. On my page, he is one of the great successful business owner in the or global company, and also I believe he is very strong. And I don't want to waste my time. I want first of all, thank you so much, Raz, to accept my invitation. It's a great honor. And also, first of all, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself, who you are, where do you live, and
Sure,
yeah.
sure. I'm in Canada here, in Toronto. I live here with my wife. We've been married for about 17 years now, and we have a 13-year-old daughter.
Wow,
Um, and
teenager,
yes, yes,
teenage.
exciting times. And of course we can't forget our little pet rabbit, who lives with us. So that's that's our household. So yeah, I've lived in Canada for like over 32 years now, I think. And that's a little bit about me. And professionally, I after I graduated, I started my career in HR, in human resources, and I did about 13, 14 years in the corporate world. And I thought I knew everything at that time. And I decided that I'm going to, go into this whole journey of being an entrepreneur. And oh boy, it was a tough transition. I could not make things work. I had to learn things the hard way. I don't come from a generation of entrepreneurs or anything. My family is very traditional. We go to school, we come out, we get jobs, and then we try to stay at those jobs as long as we can,
Yeah, yeah,
so that we can retire
similar.
and live the life after retirement.
Mm,
But along the way, things happened that kind of made me start thinking that there's got to be a better way. And that quest of the better way has led to a journey that has just been, I guess you can say it's been amazing. It's been challenging. It's been scary. It's been rewarding, and yeah, I'm looking forward to new and better things that will come in the future.
Usually, a hard situation make us strong. If
Mm,
we find the proper track to follow. If the track is not appropriate, or the way that we are going is not a good way, that different story. But
mm.
usually, hard situation makes people strong.
And I think that's life,
Yeah,
period. Right?
yeah.
Like, I mean, whenever somebody asks me, is this easy? Or, is this going to be easy? And all of that stuff. Quite frankly, I don't know what easy is anymore because I've never really had anything easy in my life. Whether it was growing up in a household, there was a lot of tension in our household. Money was always a heavy conversation.
Yeah.
When I went to school, it wasn't really easy. Wasn't really an academic guy.
Mm,
When I wanted to get married to my wife, it wasn't easy. When staying married, not easy. Having kids, not easy.
not easy.
Raising kids, not easy, right? Like, so there's really nothing that in my context of life, easy is not a criteria anymore. And I don't look at when I'm evaluating something, is this going to be easy? if I'm taking on my fitness journey and I was looking to get fit and all of that stuff, I wasn't looking at whether it's going to be easy, because anything worthwhile doing is not going to be easy. And it's not going to be easy because we've never done it before. We have
Yeah,
to learn new disciplines, we have to learn new beliefs and build new values and new structures and routines and all of that stuff. And all that stuff is never easy. So let's just take easy and throw it out.
yeah. I think depends on the personality. If we just focus, we say, "Oh, it's not easy. It's hard. I can do that." Something like that. Instead of saying and this kind of word and wasting time, find the solution. Definitely, we are not a doctor, so we have to trust a person as a doctor and go for help. So for any type of activity, anything in our life, definitely we need a person to guide us, or we can trust somebody or a group to use their experience instead of going through the hard way. Why not
Mhm.
using their experience? Listen to them and use a coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Arroya, the way you put it, it sounds so simple, and it is that simple. Unfortunately, why masses don't think of it that way is because of our upbringing and our teachings and the way that we are taught stuff in school.
Mm,
Because if you truly look at it, we are all raised to be individuals.
yeah,
You got to make it on your own. You got to figure things out, because if you don't, you're going to fail in the test.
yeah,
You got to memorize things and all of that stuff. But yet, that's not how the world works.
yeah,
At least in my experience, that's not how the world works. There's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of community, there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of
exactly.
connection, there's learning from other people who have walked the path before you,
Yeah,
and all of that
exactly.
stuff. And if I look at the biggest thing that I've learned over the past decade is been just, instead of me trying to figure things out, finding people who have already done what I want to do and following
Exactly.
them and following their blueprint. It just gets you busy doing rather than figuring things out.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
totally. I agree with you. To be honest, um, I want to back to the time that you. I don't know how long you are doing this business, and I think it's because of the you were a speaker in different. I don't know
Yeah.
what you call it, but
Yeah.
I know you are very good speaker.
Yeah.
From your post and different picture, I know you are very professional, I should say. But I think because of COVID, you find this business and start this business, isn't it?
Yeah, Roya, what had happened is, prior to the pandemic, I had built a great career as a professional speaker. People
Oh,
always wonder, what does a professional speaker do? Well, we get paid to speak. um, you know, Basically, I would get hired by, mostly founder-led organizations, and I get sent to conferences and seminars and workshops to represent their ideas, their brands, and their high-ticket offers.
mm,
So that's what it was. And I have to tell you, Roy, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was, in my heart, I knew this was the thing that I was going to do for the rest of my life.
ah,
And little did I know that this whole thing about pandemic is going to come around. And because my career was dependent on travel and
travel.
events, both of those things
Exactly.
got, shut down. And that's what put me in one of those predicaments of like, okay, what's next? And it
Mm,
really took me a few months to kind of get my head straight, as to what I'm going to do. And while I was doing my research, I think one of the things that I found out is that any individual or uh, organization that had figured out this whole online thing was
mm,
thriving during that time. And that's where the question started coming in my head, is like, how do I get a piece of this? How do I
mm,
position myself in these crazy times in an online space, and that's how I came here.
Okay, so you didn't have any experience in this?
Not in an online business, no.
No.
I had never done it. I had to learn everything, just like everybody does. I
But
had to
you are very
learn.
good at it. Not
Um,
good.
I use I don't know about good. I'm still learning. I'm still doing that, and I think I use the same formula that I've used over the past decade. That I came here because there's a blueprint. I came here
Mm,
because there's a mentor and a coach, and I have access to them. And they tell me to do something, I do it. I fall along the way. I make my mistakes and everything like that, but I'm not busy trying to figure things out. I'm just busy doing things.
mm,
And when you're working a blueprint and you have guidance of a mentor, I think you accelerate your results. If you had to produce results in something in about 2 years time frame, you might do it in 6 months or 7 months. But
mm.
I
Yeah,
think the key thing is that we all go through our journey. How I'm
yeah,
building this business, that although I'm using the same blueprint as you, Roya, I'm using the same blueprint.
yeah,
There are certain skills that I may be able to bring from my previous life or previous careers that may help
definitely,
me. You may bring certain skills that will help you, and others will
definitely.
bring certain skills. So that's the difference. And sometimes people may not have certain skills, but either way, we're all in the same boat because we all need to learn to build new skills to be
Exactly,
successful here.
exactly,
And that
exactly.
doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I don't know why people expect overnight to be rich. Never happen. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
it's probably a scam, yes, but the real legitimate business doesn't work overnight. You have to, as you said, if you stop learning, doesn't work. You have to
Yeah.
learn while you are doing,
And
and
I
which
think
is great point.
that's a mindset. I think what you were
Exactly,
talking about, what
exactly.
you were speaking about is a mindset, because I feel like, I tell people, I'm like, listen, if you were to, buy the Starbucks, and that's a legitimate business, right? Like it's a Starbucks. But just because you bought it and paid for the franchise, does not mean it is going to work. It is not going
Exactly,
to work. You have to work it. I think
exactly.
sometimes people have this notion that they've paid the money and now things should just work. If you've got a Starbucks, you've got to invest your time, energy, money into it for you to make it successful.
Exactly,
And I
exactly,
think that's where it is. And I think people sometimes, when they come into the online space, they sometimes don't come with the mindset that they need to build new skills. They just think that
exactly.
they've got this franchise kind of thing, and then everything is just going to work by itself.
Even for as you mentioned, for example, you want to have a franchise of the Starbucks. You have to learn how to do the customer service. This kind of thing, this is the physical business. This is the business that you have to have a space. You have to invest a lot to start
Yeah,
a business, something like
yeah.
that. So still, you have to learn how to even talk to people, even talk to your customer, how to keep your customer,
How to
how to
deal
be
with suppliers,
creative.
how to deal with that,
Yeah,
keep
exactly,
inventory,
exactly,
hire people, let go,
exactly.
fire people, all that stuff. Like, I mean, there's like, how to keep the place clean, how to keep it compliant. There's so many things to learn. And
Mm,
when it comes to Starbucks, people will be like, yeah, of course I have to do that. Well, it's the same thing in the online space as well.
yeah,
You had
exactly.
there are certain things you won't have to have as much things to learn as you need to learn
Yeah,
to operate a Starbucks.
yeah. You don't have those kind of difficulty
Yeah,
like a physical place, hiring people, supply chaining,
that's
something
right.
like those kind of thing difficulty. You don't have it, but and the good point about online business is you learn and you enjoy. It's kind of law. It's a fun. If you make it fun,
You
as
make
you
it
said,
fun.
it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
mindset. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's not hard. You can make it simple and enjoyable,
There you go.
I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
I want to ask you, how did you trust this? Definitely, if you notice about this online business through an advertisement, how did you trust this business?
Oh, how do I trust the business? See, here's the thing. Like I've been, because of my prior career as a speaker, I've got to travel a lot, and I've shared the stages with many of the great speakers, and I've seen a lot of programs out there and people that are making offers and all of that stuff. And I think I've met a lot of people internationally, people who are looking to do something outside of their job, something alternative, either to add to their household income or to replace it. Um, and whenever I've noticed people go down the route of building something online, I think I've seen them getting stuck in what I call it weeds. They get in this
Mm,
stuck in the jungle of things. They start building websites and they start building sales funnels and writing emails and designing presentations, making video, then doing webinars and then trying to sell and trying to create
yeah.
groups where they can nurture people. Like, and this whole process, like people just get stuck into it and they never get to a point where they're making money. So when I was looking at the online space, I didn't want to go down that route. I'm not looking to build an online business so that I can build a website. No, I don't want to do that, right? So I was looking for ways to be efficient because my mindset is, yes, I want to make an income. Yes, I want to provide for my family and all of that stuff. Like, yes, I'm of that mindset, but I don't want to spend 8 to 10 hours doing that. I want to be
Mm,
efficient with my time because time is very precious to me. So
exactly.
that's what I was looking for. I was looking for efficiency. And when I came across this, I fell in love with the system and
Mm,
the way I went through the due diligence process and the way we invite people to do their due diligence process. It is such a no pressure, automated kind of thing. And then once you get to the end of it and you do feel that this business is for you, you have an opportunity to speak to somebody. And to
mm,
me, I just absolutely, and when I found out that a lot of the infrastructure for the online business was going to be set up for me, and I really had to focus on two or three things. And I could do this thing in 2 or so hours per day. Like, okay, that's what it is
exactly.
for me. So
Exactly.
to me,
Exactly.
that's what I was looking for. I look for systems, automation, products, and services. All those are secondary for me. The first
Mm,
thing is because the thing is the systems and the automation, any business lives and dies with its customers. If you don't have the ability to bring customers, then it doesn't matter what product you have or what service you have. That business is not going to thrive. So those are the things that I was looking for. What kind of help is available through mentors and coaches in helping me
mm,
build a system where I can generate customers? How do they teach that? So I was evaluating that. And then once my evaluation passed through the automation, through systems and the marketing system, I was just sold. And then the secondary thing was, okay, what products and suppliers are we dealing with,
mm.
to make the commissions? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Good point that you mentioned. And not just timing, spending to build a funnel, sales funnel to make it automated. Uh, the money that you have to spend for those one is important
Thousands
as
of
well.
dollars. Yeah.
$1,000, for example, if you want to learn how to advertise on Facebook, minimum 3,000 to 10,000, depends on how deep you want to learn
You're
it.
absolutely right. I've actually seen those programs and it's just a course, right?
Yeah,
It's just a coaching program that you would buy for $5,000. I've seen $5,000,
yeah,
$6,000, and you are part of this course where they teach you Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising and all of that stuff. And you have a coach that you can access, but that's all you're doing there. Then you have to go and get a business where you can start applying that knowledge. And so
exactly.
I had seen a lot of those things. So if truly people start doing their due diligence, they watch the webinar that we invite them to, they follow it step by step through the due
Yeah,
diligence, I think they will notice the immense amount of value and tools that they get that are not available elsewhere for them.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And also the support that we have in this business important as well. You know, when you take a course, you just take a course. The coach or teacher for that course doesn't care you learn
Hmm.
it or not. You pay and you learn it and say bye bye. But
That's right.
here, the good point is your coach and mentor actually help you. You know,
Hmm.
because we are a team. My success actually helped my mentor to be success, my coach to be success, more success. You know what I mean? We are not MLM, but we connected to each other as a one community, as a
Hmm.
group. So we
Hmm.
help each other to achieve our goals. So which is very good point about this business as well,
Yeah.
which you mentioned, which is great. Thank you to mention this good
No, you're
point.
welcome.
So you and also the good another good point that you mentioned, that the timing that we spend 2-3 hours per day for this business means is a fantastic life. Because of
Hmm.
that, you enjoy your life.
I mean, that's ultimately the point. I
Yeah,
ask people, like, if somebody had asked me this question and said that, listen, you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, what if there was a way for you to work 2 to 3 hours a day and make the same kind of money? Would you be open to looking at it? And yeah, I would. Right? I would be open to looking at it because I would love to spend 2 to 3 hours and make the same kind of money that I make in my full-time job. Who wouldn't want to do that?
yeah,
Right? As
exactly.
long as this is way, but I also need to be mindful that I have to learn new skills to be able to. Right now, if you have a full-time job and you're working 8 to 10 hours, your skills are matched with that. That's what your skills are able to
Exactly.
do. But if you
Yeah,
need to learn to do this in 2 hours or 3 hours, you have to learn a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking, a new way of being, a new way of executing all of that stuff. So that's the difference. So even if it takes you 6 months to get to that point, 8 months, 2 years, if it takes you 2 years to get to the point that you finally have skills to work 2 to 3 hours per day and make a full-time income, wouldn't you do it? Right? I mean,
exactly.
that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And the other point is you got enough time to enjoy more, and also, as you said, work on your personality and your skill. And when you have time, you can be more creative. To be honest, no stress, and enjoy your life to spend with your family, friends, and your kids, which is their blessing in your life. To be honest, very
you're
important.
you're you're doing the things that are important to you right now. I mean, most of the people are spending most of their time working, right?
Yeah,
8 to 10
exactly.
hours. And then when they have time left over, they will do the things that are important to them. I said,
Exactly.
let's just reverse that. Let's just change that, right?
Yeah,
How about, doing things, the other way around? You spend most of your time doing the things that are important to you, and then when you have time, you work.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
it's a different way of thinking,
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
doesn't happen overnight. It's something that
Yeah,
we learn over
exactly, exactly. Actually, this business help a lot of people uh, to um, to build their life. Some of them pay their mortgage, some of them left their full-time job and doing this business as a full-time. Some of them spend more time with their kids, family, which is great
Yeah.
point. And it's a blessing. It's up to people how do they want to see this business, which is, as you said, is not a night to get rich. It's not through a night to get lots of skill. This business need motivation and timing and patience. You have to be
Yeah.
patient to build your personality and your own business, which is with the training that we have, with the team that we have, is honestly, it's simple. I can't say
Absolutely.
easy, simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are my words.
Thank you so much. I know you are so busy. I don't want to, you just mentioned 30 minutes. I,
It's all good.
it was great pleasure and honor to have you on my page. And thank you so much. And if you want to say something at the last sentence or last word, it would be great.
Sure, sure. And I truly, thank you, Roya, for inviting me. It's really great to connect with new people. You're in Australia, me in Canada. Through this platform. So it's a great connection. Last words I would say this. I don't think you need me. Anybody needs me to tell them that the world has changed. I think they see it. I think we feel it. And it has become more and more important for us to think outside the box, outside of the way we have been living our life. If you see the way the prices are moving of gas, real estate, groceries, utilities, everything like that, um, the our jobs are not moving as fast. The salary increases is not as fast, and it
Exactly.
requires us to do something out of the ordinary. And
Exactly.
the and I think most people realize that. But what my invitation to you is, understand that there is a period of skill development, and I don't think I can um, it's nothing to be taken lightly of. Like, when changing times come about, we have to start learning to develop new skills. If you were going to change your career, you might think of going back to school and getting some new education and new skills and all of that stuff. It's the same thing. Then let's just learn skills of the 21st century. Let's learn to
Exactly.
leverage the internet and technology to our benefit. The opportunity is there for everyday people like you and I.
Exactly.
And start now, so that by the time you have learned, you can actually implement it. Don't
Exactly.
wait. And whether it's this business or anything else, it doesn't matter. But you got to do something out of the box.
Exactly. Today better than tomorrow.
Hmm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much for those people watching this or live now, and or those on that are watching the replay. And I hope you all have a great, lovely life and enjoy your life. And bye now.
Awesome. Bye.